for the longest time, I was trying to play in the NFL. Like I did not see myself not making it to the NFL. If you told me I wasn't gonna play in the NFL in high school or middle school, man, we would have fought. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bowl.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Glad you could tune in. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media, so make sure you follow me. As you guys can see, we're branding a little different now. You see how we're branding? Boom. You see how we're branding? Boom. We branding, baby. I'm probably gonna do an episode on my additions to my branding or whatever, but we'll say that for another episode. But right now, I wanted to do an episode today. I wanted to talk about I wanted to not just talk about, but I wanted to share my experiences or I wanted to share my experience of walking on or attempting to walk onto a D1 football program. Yep, I tried to walk onto a Division 1 football program back when I was in college. And I figured, I said I would I'm doing this episode because college football is like right here. It's right upon us. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and drop this episode in case we have some people that are trying to walk onto a football team, or maybe you might be a senior in high school, and you might have aspirations of walking onto a football team like I did. So I said, why not share my experience and share some knowledge so you guys know what you're getting into. Also, you parents, because a lot of parents, they only see one side of everything. So I figured, let me go ahead and just share what I know, So a little bit about me. I played so here's my background, right? I played little league football or county league football. I played up to like 125 pounds. I think I started when I think I started playing at the age of like 12. I was on the 75 pound. I was really undersized. I played 75 pounds at 12 and 13 years old. Then I played 85, 95. Then I played 110 and 125, right? So I played football like all the way like from grade school through like middle school. I went to Art Monk football camp, when I was in middle school, and I'm not trying to like brag on myself, but I was decent, man. I got awards at this camp, right? I was like the second smallest camper or player there out of like 100 plus people. And I was the fastest, right? Like they lined us all up and I was the fastest at football camp. I was the smallest, and I got respect, when I went to Art Monk football camp. The high school I went to was a religious high school. And, my folks, they wanted me to go the whole medical school route. So this school was on the medical school path. And the school I went to didn't have a football team, so I didn't play high school football at all, so I was told by coaches to just run track, what I'm saying? I played high school basketball. I was a jock. I ran cross country. I did track and field, played basketball. I probably should have played baseball because I was nice at baseball too, but my heart was with football and track and everything. Well, my heart was with football, but then I was told to run track, stay in shape. And then if you run track, when you go to college, man, you can then do what you want. The world is your universe, or however that shit goes, or however that saying goes. I don't know, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. But anyways, I was like, for the longest time, I was trying to play in the NFL. Like I did not see myself not making it to the NFL. If you told me I wasn't gonna play in the NFL in high school or middle school, man, we would have fought. Even in college, like you weren't like I was going to make it, you know. But anyways, I tell you all this because I had the odds stacked against me and I didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I'm sharing this information with you. So in case any of you guys are in the position I'm in, you know kind of what to expect. All right. So I thought I thought that I was gonna be able just to go to college and just go walk onto the team, right? But nah, didn't work that way. Like right now, it's like around August. In August, they already got the roster already made up. They know who they already got the depth chart put together. And, you know, there is no like how should I put it? Walk-ons gotta wait for the next year, essentially, right? So I went in thinking that I could just go walk onto the team and then boom, that's it. And I remember I'm asking all the weight coaches and the other coaches, like, how do I go about getting on the team and walk? 'Cause I'm even calling up like before I even go. And I got the awkward pauses on the phone and I got the awkward stares, like people looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you trying to walk onto the team? Oh, you're trying to walk on? Like, they looked at me like I was like, speaking German, you know? So, anyways, I had to wait until spring semester to actually file paperwork and everything. I had to get a physical. I had to get all this stuff done. And then in the spring semester of my freshman year is when I was eligible to walk on, right? So had to go and do like, the weight training. We had spring training or whatever because by then, like January, the football season's over, you know? So football season's over. I mean, sorry, college football season's over in January. So when you come back in your spring semester, um, yeah, it's like that's when you got to kind of start everything, right? So I had to fill out paperwork, get my physical, and then you got to do spring workouts in the morning. You got weightlifting workouts. I mean, when you walk on to a D1 football team, that consumes like 90% of your time. Like there is nothing else. There's nothing else. Um, so let me just go ahead and start. I'm just gonna start jumping around and just start, telling you what I learned and like, or giving you information so, you guys can just know what to expect when it comes to walking on to a D1 football program. Number one, first thing I can, first words of wisdom I can share with you when it comes to walking onto a D1 football program is if you don't have any tape, you're probably not going to make it. Like that's why I told you guys my history of like, middle school and me not playing high school football because I had no tape. Right? I had no tape. And when you don't have tape, that just sets you back like even further. Right? So no one knows who you are, no one knows what you can do. They see you in spring workouts, dusting people in drills and like, busting your ass. And, it's not like I'm slower than anybody, right? Because me, I was really undersized, so I had to really make up for my lack of size with speed. Um, and I had to like show that I was stronger, for my size. When you don't have tape, that works out, that works against you because they don't know what you can do. And what else can you expect? You can expect if you're walking onto a team and if you're not a behemoth of a man, right? Like if you're average size for the position that you're going out for, or if you are smaller, you will be pissing off a lot of the coaches, especially your position coach. And here's why. These position coaches have scoured the nation looking for looking for the best of the best. and they had to go to the university and they had to get scholarship money and they had to go to these parents' houses and make promises to these parents that they would do everything in their power to get their kid to the NFL or to make sure they had a shot at making it to the NFL. And then here your ass come along with a dream. You know, like when I walked onto the team, or when I tried walking onto the team, I thought the players were going to be assholes and the coaches were going to be nice and cool, but it was the opposite, right? Like 95% of the coaches were assholes. Like I don't have respect. Like I don't have respect for like 95% of those coaches. You know, not because I'm mad because I got cut, but it was just how they conducted themselves, and like they weren't like childish, but it was just corny. Like a lot of these coaches were bitch made. You know, like they couldn't tell you what it was man to man, eye to eye. You know, like if a coach told me straight up, like if one of the coaches pulled me aside and had me go in the room and they just said, "Hey, look, hey Andre, you're only 5'4", 5'5", or whatever, and you're only $160 wet. You know, I don't see how you make this team. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the odds are stacked against you. And here's what you can expect. Okay, we're not gonna keep you on the team forever if we don't think you can make it. So, how do you think you can contribute to this team? You know, if we had that kind of conversation, you know, then if I got cut or when I got cut, I'd be like, you know what? They looked me in the eye. They told me what it was. It is what it is. But man, these niggas let me think that I'm on the team. Like they let me think I was making progress. And really it was like what it kind of felt like was they were like, "Oh, okay, this guy has a dream. Let's protect his dream for a year and then we got to cut him loose. But he's not going to make the team, you know? We don't see any use of like we don't see any use for him." So that's why I say I don't have respect for like a lot of those coaches because they talk all this shit in practice and they get you hyped up to go run through a brick wall, but they can't tell you the fucking truth. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, so off the field, they might be great people, but when I was around these people, I just lost respect for them, you know? But anyways, what else can you expect? You can expect that they're not going to give you what you need to succeed. Let me demonstrate. So what you're looking at right here is my playbook. This is the playbook they gave me. Okay? You see how thin this shit is? This shit is not that fucking thick. See how thin that is? Boom. It's like a Jehovah's Witness pamphlet. This joint is thin. The playbook everybody else got on my team or in my group was like this. Like it was like volumes. And the sad part was like I knew the plays better than everyone in my group. I'm not even gonna brag. Like I knew the plays better than everyone in my group. You know, like when I looked at films, when we had film study, you know, I earned the nickname Coach Andre because I knew the answers to all the plays in film study. You know? So everything was like stacked against me. And, you know, I didn't even like realize it. You know? Let me actually just show you what was inside of my playbook in case some of y'all think I'm bullshitting. Like, hey, because you know, you got YouTube, man. A lot of YouTubers, man, y'all full of shit, man. Y'all niggas is terrible, you know? Like y'all just got nothing better to do. Y'all got nothing better to do than just troll people, right? Like I can hear some of y'all right now. Hey man, how do we know that's a playbook, man? Man, that's not a playbook, man. You just went to Target and got that. Man, that's a workbook from work, man. You didn't play no football. Man, stop lying to us to get clicks. Man, shut the hell up. Let me show y'all this right quick, man. Like on YouTube, you gotta prove everything. So for you non-believers, here we go. Let me actually pull this up. There we go. Boom. What does that say? Temple football offensive playbook, right? And then these are some of my notes. I didn't mean to do that. Right. Right. These are some of my notes that I took. Let's zoom in. This is the personnel groupings, right? So we had regular, trio, spread, nickel, ace, jumbo, tank packages. So this basically told you how many receivers were in a package, how many running backs we had in a package, how many tight ends were in a package. And they had them grouped out by personnel numbering. Yeah, these guys think they slick, but really all they did is they looked at they grouped it based off the running back and tight end, right? Because for example, you see tight end, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, so personnel's 21, right? Trio package, it's 2 running backs, no tight ends, so that's 20. And they had the signals for it. So basically when you're on the sideline, right, they would either yell out the number, and they would also give you a signal. So if you knew the package, you knew that like you had to get your ass in the huddle out there because that's the grouping. And then based off of that, they have the formations or whatever, right? This is our pass calling system. This is the wide receiver slot tree or whatever. But anyway, I'm not. So, anyways, yeah, these are some of my notes or whatever and stuff. But anywho, I'll probably cut this off now. Yeah. So the odds were stacked against me, but I didn't know it. You know. What else do I want to do here? So that's what you can expect, man, when you walk onto a football team. It's just like a lot of shadiness. Um, and here's how I got cut, right? Like the way I got cut was messed up. Because number one, like our team was like losing. Like you weren't like so I played for Temple and in my back when I played, we were in the Big East. And when I was in the Big East, like that was like one of the most competitive conferences in college football, right? Because back then, that's when you had Michael Vick playing for Virginia Tech. That's when Clinton Portis and Willis McGahee played for the U or University of Miami. I mean, during that time period, man, was crazy. Like you had Jeremy Shockey, Roscoe Parrish, Ethnic Sands. Ethnic Sands was nice. Like he. So I remember Ethnic Sands was nice, but I remember like his name was just dope, and I'm surprised he didn't make it to the league. But you have Roscoe Parrish, Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee. Who else was in our division or our conference? Back then we played against West Virginia. That's when West Virginia had Pat White, and Pat White was nice. He was nasty. Like he really was like Pat Mahomes back then, but you know he didn't make. I think he made it to the league. I think he got drafted by the Dolphins. I think, but he didn't. He didn't end up making it. But Pat White was nice in college. Larry Fitzgerald, Hall of Famer. He played for Pitt. Um, who else, man, was in our division? We had Boston College, Rutgers, Syracuse was in our division or conference. And that was like a year after. That was like a year. I walked on like a year before or a year after Donovan McNabb was drafted. So I remember in my freshman year of school, that was Donovan McNabb's rookie year playing for the Eagles. So it was like a big deal because he was in Philly. Um, but yeah, man, what else, man? Can you expect when you walk onto a football team or a D1 football team? The biggest, like one of the biggest things I've learned is that you're on a schedule, right? Like I thought once I was walking onto the team and I was on it for a year, I'm just gonna stay on the team. and nah, they didn't tell me I had, because it was weird, because they gave me a locker and everything. They gave me a locker, they gave me shoes, they gave me cleats, they gave me all my equipment, and you know, I was showing up on time. I was first one in, last one out, working my ass off, doing drills outside, working out with the receivers outside of practice, you know. But they never told me that I was gonna get cut. Now here's the thing, right? If I showed up late, or if I showed up late to practice, or if I like did something like dumb, then I could see them cutting me or whatever, right? But I was like Johnny on the spot, man. Like I was there to play football. So nah, they didn't give me no heads up, man. But the language was funny. I remember when we had pads on, I remember there was one practice where well, first of all, if you walk onto a football team, you're gonna do a lot of standing around. When you put on pads, just because you were doing good in drills and you're like one of the fastest out there, you're gonna do a lot of standing around. Like I stood in the sleet, in the rain, in the hail, like in the heat. I was out there, you know. And you know, you're gonna do a lot of standing. When you're out there, you're gonna do a lot of standing. But I remember one time when I was in practice, they were doing like punt block drills, or we were doing a punt coverage, and it was the grad assistants and the walk-ons versus the coaches and the actual players on the roster. And they had me up front, and we ran all types of stunts. And a stunt is where basically you have like people up front that instead of just rushing straight, like they'll like cut over and one guy will go behind them, right? So what'll happen is like it'll create a wedge, then another guy can come around and then get a free shot at blocking the punt, right? So man, we ran all these stunts, and I remember one practice I blocked 3 punts, and that was like the highlight of my walk-on experience, man. I blocked 3 punts in practice, and I did so much that the head coach had to come down off of his crane. It's like a big ass crane thing on the field that just came down. He had to come down, and I could hear him cussing on the way down. He's like, "Why can't we block that little shit? Who's this little shit? Who's this little shit that we can't block?" And he and the thing came down, and he came over and then cussed them all out, and then went back up, and I blocked another punt, and he was mad. "Why can't we block that shit?" Like he was coming down off his thing. That shit was hilarious. But so the fact that I blocked 3 punts in practice, and the fact that I knew all the plays in the playbook and film study, I thought my job was safe. I thought I was good. But then they come talking some bullshit about. I remember at the end of the year, my first red flag was when I had to schedule a meet. We all had to schedule meetings to have our state of where we stood on the team with the coach, with the head coach. And I remember, man, I filled out my paperwork, made my appointment. It was like seeing a doctor. You had to go and fill out your paperwork, and then you had to get put on the schedule. And then when you came in, the coach would tell you where you stood on the team. And I remember, man, our coach, I went into that room. This is why I'm like, I ain't got respect for that dude, man. Here it is. I done blocked punts in practice. I'm busting my ass for a whole year, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning, making weight training, doing all this shit, you know? And he had a piece of paper, and when I got in there, he was like, "Yeah, you are I said, I'm Andre. Andre, whatever your name is. Hey, we can't have you back for the summer. So we appreciate all that you do, but come back in the spring and we love to have you back. And I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker, if you appreciate what I do, how come you can't remember my name? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't. So I was like, man, whatever. So that was the first red flag where I was like, okay, looking back, I'm like, okay, that's a sign that I'm probably going to get cut now that I'm looking back retrospectively. And then, what happened after that? Yeah, then they hit me with the bullshit where they were like, yeah, you got to retry out. I'm like, retry out? I'm like, man, I did all this work, got the physical, I know the plays. What you mean I got to retry out? So I was pissed, right? So I remember I retried out and it was all these new guys. And they were bigger, but they weren't faster than me. I was whooping their ass in all the drills, man. I was first in every cone drill, man. Busting their ass. So I was like, yo, I know I'm not getting cut off of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So when they made me retry out with the new guys that are coming in on our third tryout day, it was a snow day. And it wasn't even that much snow. It was just like a flurry, but they canceled the tryout. And then when I came back home, back then I had my I had my portable phone and on my cordless phone, and the red light was bleeping on that joint. And I pushed play on the voice memo, and it was Rocky Hager, man. He was like, what did he say? He said, Andre, you are no longer a member of the Temple Owls football team. You are no longer allowed to come on the premises, and we thank you for your effort. So I was like, what? So, man, tears started swelling up, man. I felt like I got stabbed in the heart, man. I just saw my NFL dream just go away. It was just running away from me. Man, I was calling that phone, calling that office. I finally got a hold of the coach. And then he knew it was me. I was just calling. I wasn't taking no for an answer. And I was sobbing. I was like, man, I'm like, yo, you can line me up. Don't just cut me. Like, make it so that, like I can take getting beat out for a position. I said, line me up against your starters, get my 40-yard dash time. Just know what it is that you getting rid of. He was like, Andre, you're done. We think it's best that you focus on your studies, and we want to give someone that actually has a chance of making the team an opportunity to make the team. And our team is like 2-8 or some shit. We out here losing, and they cutting niggas. Like, our team was so bad, like, no offense, like, no shade, like, no disrespect, but our team was so bad, the players on the team didn't know that niggas got cut. So when I came to the cafeteria and I ate with the team, like, they saw something was wrong. They were like, Dre, what's wrong, man? I'm like, man, I got cut. They were like, oh shit, we cut niggas? I was like, yeah, I got cut. And they were like, damn, I ain't know we cut niggas. I was like, yeah, I got cut. So anyways, yeah. If you don't, like, basically you're on borrowed time, so if you don't, like, if they don't give you any status as to where you are within a year of being on the team, just expect to get cut. That's how that shit goes, Also, last little tidbit of advice. This is like real petty, but last little tidbit of advice I can give you, man, is if hold on to the free shit. Like, don't keep your free shit in the locker. That's one thing I regret. Cause I kept everything in my locker. Because I had a workout shirt. I had my workout shoes. I had my cleats, my workout shoes, my shorts. You know what I mean? And I left that shit in my locker, and I wish I kept them things at home, because that way I would have had more than just the playbook. Maybe not the shoes, but at least the shirt. I should have kept the shirt and the shorts at home, because when I got kicked off the team, or when I got cut from the team, you can't even get back in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a done deal, Also, make friends with the equipment people, because I made friends with them, but not good enough, because they just gave me the standard shit. Like I had a standard mouthpiece, standard helmet, you know what I'm saying? And I was a fool. Like I wore all my pads and shit. And when you play D1 football, you're not supposed to wear all your pads, you know? Like really all you wear are like your pants. You don't even wear the knee pads or the thigh pads. So I got like laughed at and made fun of because I wore my girdle pad, I wore my knee pad, my thigh. I wore everything, you know? But yeah, just if you're on the team, if you're walking onto a team and you got some free shit, just keep the free shit in your room. So that way, if you get cut, you got more than just this playbook. But anyways, that's all I got for y'all today, man. So, how many of y'all trying out for, how many of you guys are walking on to a D1 program, man? Put it in the chat. Let me know. You know, how many of you guys have tried to walk onto a D1 program and had a similar experience? Put it in the chat. Let me know. If I left something out, put it in the chat. Let me know. Maybe I might do a live stream where I go in for like a longer period of time, you know, and I can respond to some of y'all. So let me know, man. But AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. Make sure you follow me. And without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theo.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo.
Tripping with Theo.